Hi, I've come down from my pedestal to gift you with answers to your questions. It is time for my very first Q&A. And these questions I will pull from Twitter as well as YouTube. First question comes from Phantom UP, who says, "Congratulations on 2K. Thank you, sir. My question is, who is your favorite YouTuber?" It really depends. If you're talking about humor, I would say Love, which is LAHWF, and PewDiePie and Rumi Official for humor and music, because he does a lot of cool stuff with his music. Also a lot of humor in the edits, which I really like, make the videos really consumable, bingeable. So when it comes to other creators, YouTubers I really like are actually my friends on YouTube, which is everyone who is in the Nimminati or somehow related to that. And then also creators like Nick Nimmin, D Nimmin, Roberto Blake, Brian G. Johnson, all of those, and everyone who follows them. I like them. Jesus Valdez asks, favorite movie and video game song soundtrack. Also congrats for 2K, you're very talented. You'll have 20K in no time. Thank you, that's really nice of you. Favorite movie and video game song. Video game, I would probably answer Pokemon, because that's really nostalgia for me. And it always brings me back to like playing Pokemon Red on the Game Boy Color. Yes, I am that old. So yeah, and then favorite movie soundtrack? Oh, actually I know. My favorite movie soundtrack is Burlesque, because like the Christina Aguilera songs, oh my god. Every song on that album is fire. I love that so much. And if you mean, like, I mean soundtrack as like the full album that is sort of related with that movie. A bunch of songs, not like the main track. Because then you have No Time to Die by James Bond, which I really like. And I do like Billy's track, but I kinda expected another song to be the main track for that, because it was rumored in Belgium that one of our artists named Ibe would make it on that track list with his song Control. Really look that up, Ibe Control. It's a beautiful song. It's so powerful and really James Bondy. It's really nice. Next question. Alfonso Epic asks, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. So, trans rights versus human rights. I actually went into a little discussion with him because I was so confused by this question, because I was like, how are transgenders not human? I was so confused, but he agreed, which is why he asked. Scotty asks, question for your Q&A. If you had to choose one artist that inspired you most, which artist would it be? Demi Lovato, by far, because she went through so much and she shares it so openly and inspires like a ton of people to do the same thing. She's so brave. I know a lot of people make fun of the whole overdose situation, which is a stupid thing to make fun of, but I think she's so brave and she's such an inspiration for me. Also, the girl has pipes. Damn. Rip Dr. 19 asks, are you also considering some projects of voice acting or some mainstream playback singing? Like singing up with a record company and publishing a full album or something like that. When it comes to voice acting, I'm actually looking into Fiverr to do some voiceover stuff, because I can't work because of Corona. And then when it comes to releasing an album, I am convinced, and a lot of people might disagree with me because I know there's huge advantages that a label can offer you, but I am convinced that you don't need a label anymore to put on an album. This is such a cool time for songwriters, because you can just write something and put it online on all major streaming platforms without an issue. It's so cool. The time we live in is so full of opportunity. Fred asks, hey, how are you doing covers? Do you just record and post them, or do you have to go through the ridiculous licensing process? To be honest, and I don't think this is a good idea, but I just record and post them. I don't have an issue with getting a copyright claim. I don't know what you need to do wrong in order to receive a strike. I'm completely fine with not making any money now or in the future on covers. And I think that for the most part you're good as long as you make it original enough. I think you're good, but again, I'm not an expert at all. If you want to know for sure, ask a lawyer. G. Mitchell Jr. says, looking forward to your new releases. Thank you. Question, if you were to release an album today, how many songs would be on it and what would be your top picks? Congratulations on your community growth. Thank you. I actually thought about that before, like what if I would ever release an album, what would be on it? And I think my first album would contain like 12 to 13 songs and would be called something like Made Me or Building Blocks or Bricks. It would contain every song that represents something bad that happens in my life that made me to who I am today, because I think that's a sort of cool thing. And then from that point I can do more upbeat, happy stuff, but like that will be like, hey, this is me, get to know me. And it will contain songs like Iceberg, which you haven't heard yet, which basically says all you will ever hear is just the tip of the iceberg, because things are much darker underneath. And first I talk to my audience, then I talk to the people who sort of did me wrong, and then I talk to myself, like I know it's hard, but at the very least release that tip of the iceberg.
All you'll ever hear is just the tip of the iceberg, 'cause things are much darker underneath. Quick, blow away the smoke that leads to your fire, but you never told us who served as the lighter. You make us believe that you are our friends, but you're just a reason we almost got to an end. So please, for once in your life, just be honest. We know that for you it is hard, but please, at the very least, reveal the tip of the iceberg.
And then it would start with Tears or Family Disaster, What If I'm Right, songs like that. So very personal, dark songs. Pybio says, did you participate in any singing classes? I did. Actually, when I was 14, I think I took my first pop singing classes. And I think 1 or 2 years later, I got into classical singing as well. When I was 18 or 19, I went to MD, where I got like professional classical vocal lessons, like 1 hour a week. Before that, it was like 20 minutes a week. And then I tried conservatory and I got vocal lessons there as well. So yeah, I got a ton of vocal lessons, but I ignore all of them. And I know this sounds really stupid, and it is. And never do that, please. But I noticed that when I try breath support, when I even try breathing through my stomach or belly or whatever you want to call it, like you breathe and your belly goes out instead of this, like you breathe from there. I mean, from your belly, from there, looks very weird. So yeah, I notice if I do that first of all, it makes me nauseous as fuck. Second, it makes me dizzy. Third, I try to hold it there to have breath support. And I notice if I try to do that, I get tension all over my body, and eventually it would cause me to not be able to sing anymore. There wouldn't be any note coming out anymore because it puts so much stress on my body. And so that's why I completely ignore all vocal technique that I have learned, which is really bad. And if you're a singer, breath support is the first thing you need to get right. Please, if you want to sing, get lessons for that. At the very least, just for that. The next question comes from the infamous Melonhead. That's a cute name. Question for the Q&A. What was your biggest inspiration to start music and YouTube? It's actually a silly story. I already started posting videos on Facebook, and then one day my mom was like, have you heard about this American boy who made music on YouTube and then he got discovered? You should put your songs on YouTube. And she was talking about Justin Bieber. I know, Canadian probably, but... So I was like, yeah, I can post songs on there. They're still on YouTube. Like the very first things I posted, you barely hear any audio. Only starting from video 4, you start hearing clear audio. But yeah, that's how I started on YouTube. And then that was 2010, and then I quit in 2015. I restarted in 2017 because I was studying retail management and I felt like something was missing. And after a conversation with a teacher, because I told her like I feel like I don't know what I want to do in life, I felt kind of lost. And so she had a conversation with me specifically to find out what my interests were. And so music came up again. At that time I was also watching Brian G. Johnson on YouTube, and he kind of made me want to be Brian G. Johnson, so I started making videos again, but like teaching people how to do YouTube whilst not knowing how to do YouTube, which was completely pointless. But then everyone started to talk about niches, and I was like, but there's nothing special that I can do, completely ignoring the fact that I had 60 songs on my channel from years before that. And then when I realized that, I started getting into that again. But I really like sort of niched down in May 2019 when I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Original songs, covers, tutorials, behind the scenes, songwriting live streams. So my inspiration to start music, I actually started writing songs, really bad ones. I still have the file. We can go over that one day if you want. It's really cringy. But I started getting really serious about it the moment my grandfather was diagnosed with cancer. I actually wrote 3 songs that I had recorded with an acquaintance that doesn't really do music studio stuff anymore. So yeah, those songs were Shine, Bring Me Back, and Into Your Arms. And I recorded that so I could give it in the oven when he would be cremated. So the songs would be with him. He agreed on that. And he liked those songs. He could hear them still before he passed away. So that was a really nice moment. Because like, he sort of approved. He was proud of it. So it was nice. So that was how I got really serious about that, because from that moment I guess music became more of an outlet for me. Like literally the moment he passed, I wrote a song from their house to our house in the car, just a full song in there, which was One Day Without You, which is also still on my channel. So Danny Alexandria asked me some questions on Twitter, and she's an awesome creator. Please check her out. I will put her channel in the description, because she is really an informative channel about music and songwriting and stuff. And I feel like it's a channel that we really need, like more industry minded. And I find the things that she posts are really interesting. So check her out in the description. The first question is, why did you want to become a musician? I think I sort of explained that. First it was for fun, and then it became more of an outlet. She also asks, who are 5 people you want to write a song with? That's actually a hard one. If I can pick anyone, I would go for Ed Sheeran, Demi Lovato, maybe Ariana Grande because she's really cool. Maybe Billie Eilish, Lin-Manuel Miranda from Hamilton because I think he's so cool. And I know this is 6 and not 5, but also Rumi Official, because I feel like he's completely the opposite of me. I make like dark tone pop, and he makes like really upbeat, more happy sounding stuff, and I feel like I can't really do that, and I'm sort of limited in that way. And I think, like, I know he's never gonna do this, but like working together with him would sort of broaden my perspective as a songwriter. I think that could be really interesting, but he's never gonna do that. But that doesn't matter, I just answered the question. Next question. Chris311 asks, how old were you when you started singing? A little kid. I wrote really cringy songs like Moving With Your Toes, which I'm not gonna repeat again. I did that in a previous video. So she also asks, what was the catalyst that made you go, oh, I'm gonna express myself in singing, gonna share it with the world through YouTube? Which I previously explained. What do you like about singing the most as an art form? I think the different things you can do with your voice. Like, I've been sort of screaming for the past years, which you can hear in my Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, the cover of that, as well as Tell Me It's Over by Avril Lavigne. And like lately I've been realizing that I sort of like my airy voice better, and I started doing that more, and that also sounds a lot nicer if you do harmonies like that instead of with the like belty screamy voice. So I really prefer that. So what I like about it is that you can do a lot of different things with your voice. Do you engage yourself in other art forms besides songwriting? Not really. YouTube? Does that count? But no, not really. I tried sort of calligraphy and like cool handwriting, but no, not for me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Another one. Do you have stage fright or get nervous before or during filming? If yes, you got any tips to tackle it? First of all, stage fright. I get that for every performance, and it was the worst when I would do classical singing, but there I also learned that it really helps me because I feel like I want control of my voice too much sometimes when I focus on technique, which I don't do anymore. And at the moment I would perform for an exam or whatever, or a concert, I would get so nervous that I would forget everything about my technique, and the stress would completely take over, but in the best way possible, because I never could get vibrato on my voice. And the moment I got so nervous, I started singing, and this voice came out that wasn't really mine. That was really cool. Trying to study classical singing, I also learned that what is the worst that happens if you fail on a stage? People are gonna remember it, maybe they'll laugh, so what? The world will still keep spinning even if you fail, so it doesn't really matter. And do I get nervous before posting or during filming? During filming, really not anymore, unless it's like a live interview on a stream with someone, because I feel like I can't prepare myself, and then I get really nervous because not only do I have to come up with an answer at that very moment, but also I'm not natively English. My native language is Dutch, so I have to come up with an answer, then translate it to English in the least amount of time as possible. So that really stresses me out. I actually have some questions laid out with a thought out answer in it, not to be unspontaneous or fake or anything, but simply because I want to put thought into what I'm gonna say and not regret it later because I just barfed out some information that I don't really agree with anyway, just because I had to answer it. I'd rather answer something thought out that I stand behind than answer something spontaneous that I think people will like to hear, if that makes sense. So not during filming, and before posting, I only get nervous if I know it's bad. So for example, I released Dance Monkey, I was happy about that one, but the song I released after that, I knew it wasn't my best work. I didn't have enough time to come up with something better at that moment, and I felt like I'm gonna post this and it's crap and everyone's gonna leave. But people were really supportive anyway, so thank you so much, because I was so sad about that video because it was really like grainy quality. I really didn't like it, and I tried to put it in LumaFusion with a vignette and stuff to make the graininess not so obvious. Do I have any tips to tackle it? If you sort of do it a lot, your stress goes away a bit, and then again, in certain moments I'm like, I don't care, because it's out of my control what other people think and how it will go. So yeah, if it goes wrong, that is out of my control. There's not really much I can do about it. It happens. But yeah, so next question. Favorite movie of all time? White Chicks. I cannot get over that restaurant scene. That gets me every time. I can see the movie a million times and that scene will still get me. Next. The topic, Ruben, on Twitter asked me some questions. First one, what was your first instrument? My throat. Because I sang first. But the first instrument was actually guitar. Well, actually it was piano because we didn't have a guitar. But I really wanted a guitar. And then my grandparents gave me one and it turned out to be a toy guitar. And I was so disappointed, but I was like, thank you. Yay. And my parents knew me inside out, so they knew how disappointed I was and they bought me a real guitar. And so I started taking lessons with that. And that's the guitar that always hangs on the wall behind me with the hat on. That's Cindy. So technically, first instrument was my throat. If that doesn't count, it was piano, but guitar is really the first instrument I took lessons with for myself and not just something that was in the living room and I would just slam on it. Then, another question by Topic Ruben is, do you try to compose something every day? It's a good thing to do. I don't try, but I turn out recording an idea every day, and it's not my intention, but it's just something that happens. For example, I will be doing work for college and I will get an idea and I will record it, and it's just like simple, weird ideas like this. Or like this. And a lot of time I listen back and I'm like, I can't understand what I meant, what I wanted this idea to be, so it goes to waste. But a lot of time I listen back and I have this catalog of song ideas that I can fall back on. So I don't really experience writing block because of that, because I just spend every day recording ideas that I get, like all the time. It can be just like a rhythmic idea, it can be melody, it can be lyrics, it can be just like a bit, a complete bit with melody, lyrics and rhythm. Who's your favorite male and female artist? Male artist Lin-Manuel Miranda, the maker of Hamilton. I think he's so cool. He's a guy I will watch every behind the scenes video of. He's so cool. Such a cool dude. And also the fact that he performed the opening track of Hamilton in the White House, and then he was like, I'm working on a musical of Secretary Hamilton, and everyone was sort of laughing at him because like, sure, that will be something we will want to see. And then 1 year later Obama was like, who's laughing now? So I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And female, Demi Lovato, I love her. She has pipes and also really emotional and she's brave. I love her. When you cry making a video, do you really cry or do you cry like Shakira? She has some onions chopped. Actually, I did that too for my cover of Creep, because I can't cry on command. So I chopped 4 onions and I actually made the mistakes of keeping that plank on the screen. Like it was visible in a corner, and so I put a vignette on the video because there was a plank of onions right there. Which is so stupid. But I didn't want to re-record because I already had chopped up 4 onions. I did make a lot of pesto that day. But with What If I'm Right, I cried for real and it wasn't my intention, it wasn't planned. I was planned to just sing it, but I feel like as a native Dutch speaker, it's easy for me to disconnect from the meaning of a song sometimes. But those lyrics suddenly hit me so hard that I started sobbing on camera. And in my head I was just like, keep going. This is gonna be great. Just keep going, keep crying. Final question by Topic Ruben. Where do you get your inspiration from? Oh boy. I would get it from listening to other songs and not just the things that I like, but like trying to broaden my perspective, listening to artists I usually don't listen to. Pop music, but then other genres and older music. I also get my inspiration from like movies and TV shows because, like I said 1,000 times now, I'm not a native English speaker, and so I will hear a word that sounds cool, and then I look up the meaning and then I save it in like one list with a ton of words, and then I can use that in a song one day. And whenever I think of something cool or I hear something cool, I save that in a song as well. I'm constantly recording ideas, and that way I feel like I'm sort of training a muscle, like a creative muscle. By writing down ideas every day, you sort of train yourself to be creative in a certain way, and I feel like that sort of happened that way. Thank you for your questions. Next question comes from Finn Dominator on Twitter. He asks, did you ever expect to get featured on a Rumi official video, and what was your initial reaction? Funny story actually, the first submission for Rumi official was for his melody challenge, which was my song Delusional, and that was actually pretty bad, but at that time that was putting effort in it for me. So I thought like, maybe this is good, this might get featured, and it didn't, because it wasn't good. Then the next submission was for the Me remix, like the Me theme remix, and it was so weird. I put a box on my head with a bunch of faces on it, and it was horrible, but it was weird, and I thought, hey, this might be so weird that they might actually feature it. And they didn't, because it was crap again. And then Dance Monkey, I put more effort into that one, and I didn't expect to get featured because I never was featured before. I remember it was pretty late and the video went live, and I started scrolling through it, like sort of where you see like the little screen on your big screen, you see, you know what I mean? I hope you do, because I don't. But I started scrolling through it just to see if I was in it, because otherwise I would be excited all the way through the video, and I just wanted to watch everyone's submissions calmly. So I scrolled and I saw my silhouette. I was like shocked, basically. I didn't expect that. And also his reaction, even though he started with cool, his mouth fell open, and I was so confused. I was like, is this good? Say something, please. And then they like clapped, and I don't know, I was super excited. I didn't expect that at all. It was so cool that they liked it. Like, I expect to be sort of made fun of maybe, but not that they would actually like it. That meant so much to me. And I love how with the Giorno team remix, I love that he gave some feedback with that, because I actually tried to make the drums a bit louder, and then I put the song on Spotify. So yeah, but I love that he actually gives feedback, because that's helpful. You can do that more, Rumi. More feedback. So no, I didn't really expect to get featured ever, because also every time there is a challenge, I just type in the hashtag and I sort by upload date, and then I'll go through every submission and I'll watch all of them. And so with Dance Monkey, I noticed there were a ton of really good covers and a ton of funny ones, so I didn't think I was gonna be featured. Same with Giorno's theme. And for the current challenge, like the rap thing, I don't know. First of all, they featured me 2 times. I don't know if they will do that a 3rd time. Second, there are a lot of people who can rap a lot better than me and that are funnier, but I think my submission is funny, I don't know. So at least, even if I don't get featured, at least some people got a good laugh out of it, which is fine too. And then the next question is from Beanie, who asks, what's your favorite instrument or music effect on GarageBand? Good question. There's not a specific instrument, but I really like creating a certain atmosphere with layering certain sounds. So for example, with this Giorno's theme that is conveniently opened in the background. What a coincidence. Actually, it is a coincidence, because I turned up the drums a bit and then I put the song on Spotify, and that was the last thing I worked on. So these 3 together I really like, and a lot of the instruments I used in Giorno's team are very similar to the instruments I used in Dance Monkey. This. I really like sort of this dark sound this like warm bass, if that makes sense. Those were divine bass, agile synth bass, and mellow chimes, but then like changed in octaves to sort of make the sound a bit thicker, if it makes sense. And the following question is from Lothar Biesbrock, which is German, but I can't pronounce it anyway. I'm so sorry. When did you come to singing and how did it all start? In other words, when did you discover that your voice is awesome for listeners? How I got started, I already explained. But when I find out that I liked my voice, I guess, I don't know. Basically, other people told me they did. And so I thought, other people tell me, so it must be good then. And then I took vocal classes. The thing is, when I started singing, and you hear that, if you look on my channel, look for the song Us, and you will hear that I couldn't sing with my chest voice. I put so much air on my voice, and my teacher actually had to say like, hey Josephine, speak this line first and then sing it in the same placement, to teach me to sing with my chest voice or speaking voice, because I didn't do that. And it would have damaged my voice if I kept doing that with so much air, because it was like only air pushed through. So I think getting vocal lessons helped with that, with like discovering my voice. How many years of singing class did you take, if you took a class? Asked by Cookie Avocado. I explained this before. I took music theory when I was 12, then the year after guitar, classical guitar, which I later traded for electrical guitar. Then the year after classical guitar, I got piano. Then the year after that, I got drum and jazz vocals. And then 1 or 2 years later, I also got classical vocals. There was a time I was doing so many instruments at the same time. From 14 years old to 20 years old, I would say. Roberta H. or Roberta H. asks, why did you decide to start a channel? PS, love your voice. Which I also sort of explained. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. Maybe I will sort of group the questions, because, or else I will keep saying like, I already said this, and I don't know, I feel like that's sort of rude to do. I posted songs on Facebook first, and in 2008 I made my Gmail account, and then in 2010 I decided to start posting on YouTube, and then quit in 2015, came back in 2017, and I'm still here now. Stanley Orchard. Hi Stan, I hope I pronounced it right. I always think I don't. I probably didn't, I'm sorry. He asked, if you put together a small tour today, what are the top 3 places you would want to perform and why? The US, anywhere in the US, because I always wanted to go to the US ever since I was a little kid. I have this dream since I was a little kid to just like travel across the USA. I love that. I want to go there, especially Los Angeles. I know some people think it's overrated, but I don't know, I really want to go. Can I go? And then the second one would be the UK, perform there. And the third one would be, I don't know, maybe Germany. Because I don't know, I like the language. Is that a stupid reason to want to perform there? I don't know. I like the language. I think it sounds nice. And a large part of my audience is from Germany. Actually, let's have a look. And then we're going to top countries. And then we're gonna take the last 365 days. And the largest part of my audience is coming from other. So I would love to perform in other. I'm kidding, that's a stupid joke. And then after that, 63% is from other. Then 22% is from the US, then Belgium, then the UK, then Germany. That was actually the last question of today. If you have a fun video idea that we can do, or you have some song you would like me to cover, or you have an idea for a song that I can write, leave all of that in the comments down below. I mean, pick one if you want and comment it down below. Lovely. Also, coffee or tea? Which one do you like the most? It's time for bloopers, and therefore I want to introduce you to a little friend. This is a banana that I found on my heater, which apparently is completely dried out. Like, it doesn't smell bad or anything. It's just, why do I even smell this? But yeah, it doesn't. It's just completely dried out. I think it looks really cool. If you got to this point in the video, I want to ask you, should I keep this banana or should I throw it away? Kinda want to see what happens to it, but it's up to you. So I'm gonna put it here in the meantime. This will be our mascot. Bye. Hi, I have come down from my pedestal to gift you with questions to your answers. What is wrong with me?